Welcome back. This is for your April read. We're tuning into the general and the romance energy. There is a separate video I'm doing, and that's directly connected to the twin flame path. And I will be doing dailies as well. So if you haven't subscribed, come through and we can tune into the energy of what's coming through for you. Now, I've pulled the majority of the read. Again, if you're wanting a booking, the link will be below. If I swear I've mentioned that. I've pulled the cards ahead of time, as I mentioned. Now, you have some interesting cards coming through, and there's a lot of confusion coming through in your reading. I do feel there's various areas that you're actually wanting to change in your life at the moment. Anything you're directly working on or direct employment at the moment, it could be impacting you. So it could be that you're having a very busy time at the moment, and your home is directly being impacted by this domain. You've got base chakra coming up in reverse. So it might be that you're finally starting to get some sense of equilibrium after the transit of Mercury retrograde. Now, the first week's going to be a bit iffy, but moving through the month, it should be generally a lot better. I'm also seeing that for you guys, the moon energy did trigger you, and it caused a lot of stagnation in any of that forward motion. Mercury retrograde, we did have a lot of potential to have things move forward, but at the same time there was almost the energy that a lot of that was actually limited. So it could be now that you're starting to get that balance back, connected to your employment or whatever you're working on, so that you can have that. It really did hinder you. Some of you might feel that you were doing more than another individual potentially. Others of you may feel that some of the power was taken away, and especially for those of you that are feminine energies, it may be that you feel that you've had too much going on, really utilizing the masculine side of your frequency, which has come through for those of you who do have a counterpart. In your financial domain, again, you really have a lot of action. So I do feel moving through the months, you are going to have a bit more energy, even though we have other planets going retrograde. I do feel in the next potential few months, you're really going to gain clarity as to what you're going to need to do to move the dynamic of your life forward at a financial level, and also what you're going to want to invest your energy in. You're really going to start fiercely moving towards that. Some of you might be moving away from a situation of betrayal. Some of you may potentially be going through separation. So that's very common during a Mercury retrograde, connections and disconnections. We have Pluto going retrograde during the month. That is about birth, deaths, resurrections, putting things back together again. But it's retrograde, so it's like, what broke? How can we fix it? What do we need to leave behind, especially with the other planets going on? You'll find this is a time of tying up of loose ends. So even at a financial level, you're going to have to be super serious. It's almost like putting the working hat on, so to speak. What are you investing in? Looking at it from a very external, practical point of view. It can be that you're actually talking to other individuals in order to gain clarity on what you feel is going to be correct for the bigger picture, and sometimes seeking that counsel outside of self brings it back to yourself, so that, again, you have to refer back to self because you have to walk the path. I do feel there's a bit of indecision about what you're going to do. So the people that you're going to might be tribe, might be family, might be a counselor, might be a financial institution. Having conversations and networking is key, especially with your financial domain, but also communicating about where you emotionally wish to invest, maybe gaining that clarity from your close tribe to really muster up the courage to address some of those issues. In your family domain, for those of you, brother, sister, this can be your children, it can be a karmic energy. Some of you are really fatigued. So, even trying to manifest a perfect balance and has been super difficult. You're also not wanting to be manipulated. It might be being pulled in way too many different directions, and this is becoming very grating on your energy. I'm just reading a notification. I don't know why that come up. Yeah, you can be very concerned about a mother or father frequency, or somebody who potentially is older. Also, some of you might be going through a transition where you're maturing in the way you address situations with your family. And it may be some of you also with a partner and this is masculine or feminine, like don't get caught up in the card and the sex on the card. I'm directly tuning into the way you perceive yourself, linking in with the family. I'm feeling quite a heavy feminine energy. So there's two particular feminine energies that are of concern. This might be you and your mother. Again, it could be you and your sister. A closeness is forming, but then there's also a dynamic of discussion coming about where certain things need to be shifted, especially with the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn. There's a lot of shifting going on. I do feel it's going to balance out, but it's like an epiphany moment you're going to be having. Other people, how do I put this, might be affecting your home-related dynamic. And again, you might not feel as home in your own environment. So it can be additional visitors, it can be excess burdens, it can be a transfer over from one house to another. It's causing delays in your life. I'm feeling you're having to deal with this. I'm also feeling excessive visitors, and they're unwanted visitors. They're not, again, another feminine energy. I'm not feeling, this could be sister-in-law, sister. Again, I am feeling a lot of feminine frequency coming through this month. It's going to come to an end. So, you know, it is a very temporary thing. So if you've had unexpected visitors, or you've had a friend move into your house, or you're having to stay somewhere, it is very temporary. It's not permanent. What you're not seeing come in is some information in relation to where accountability had not been taken. This can even be an epiphany moment relating to where you need to go in life and what you want to manifest. Perhaps that was actually given away. Some sense of dream, some sense of idea, even the belief in self that you could actually manifest some of these situations in your own world very separately to other individuals. A judgment is going to come about due to this. And I'm feeling an aspect of communication. So if you have, for instance, sent resumes out or something to that degree, it's very separate to a connection. And it might be for some of you that you had left a place of employment and you're returning, or you haven't seen someone and, you know, they're coming back. You're concerned that perhaps they didn't take accountability. This can be a current domain in your life already where somebody isn't taking accountability and you didn't actually see it coming. It can also be an old frequency coming up for you to look back, especially with the energies being in retrograde. At times we can energetically shift backwards to the past, especially when we have a trigger point. So if this is coming up for you, take it from that perspective and deal with it so it can actually pivot you forward. It's going to take you out of a pain body experience. So I do feel it potentially could be a new dynamic, but you could be relating to it like it's a new one. An old one, vice versa. Okay, now for those of you who are interested or coupled, this is the romance side of things. Now I have, as I mentioned, done the twin flame reading separate. There's an aspect on your counterpart side, or your love interest side, where forgiveness is coming. Now this could be some wishes that they had that they've really been working quite heavily on at the moment. They're wanting you to have compassion and understanding in relation to this. They do feel it's temporary, and it might be for the bigger picture. It could be if your partner is really having an issue with gaining finance or moving towards their goals, or trying to manifest a situation on the home front, or even moving home. But I do feel it's really relevant. It can also be them coming home to themselves and having self-forgiveness for whatever has transpired in the past. Have faith that this situation is going to resolve. It is a temporary thing. Some of the healing has not been completed as yet. Okay, this is the upright. Now, in the upright, they really feel they're not quite themselves. They're not happy about it. They feel they haven't showed you their full potential, and they're wanting you to be able to see their full potential. They know what is going to create fulfillment within this connection, and they feel they know what it looks like. But again, they are being pulled in various directions, and I do feel a lot of meditation, both from the past and the future, and moving ahead with you and how that's going to look. They're wanting that happiness to be restored. They're wanting that to come back again. They're not feeling as grounded at the moment. They do semi-feel that they're off kilter with their intuition in some situations they hadn't seen coming. although you intuitively may have picked up on it. I'm feeling as though by mid-month they're coming to a place where they're actually trusting their intuition, and what's being shown to me is they're looking back to a conversation you both had. Now, this conversation, they're seeing that you weren't the enemy in the situation. They're also seeing that things weren't coming together. So some of it is almost like you've energetically taught them a lesson, not in a toxic way, not I told you so way, but more they're actually relating back to something you've physically gone through, you've experienced, and they're trying to take it on board, and they're trying to work on their connection with their self-esteem. They're very much out of balance at the moment, and I do feel it's due to an external situation. I don't feel it's their intent to let you down. They feel this is a very spiritual connection. Both of you aren't seeing eye to eye. For the animal card, you've got speaking stick in reverse. So I'm hearing the term actions speak louder than words. I'm also hearing and seeing that some of the communication may be a bit choppy during the month. It can also be the residue frequency of Mercury retrograde coming through, where that was quite difficult last month, and now you're energetically trying to recoup, but we have other planets going retrograde. So it's like, it's going to be a tough one, guys. Those of you that are Leo, I do feel in this connection, or the person you're inquiring about, you energetically feel some of the power has been taken away on your side, and you're wondering, do I manifest? It can be affecting your self-esteem. You're wanting to invest in this situation abundantly, but you're unsure how much they're wanting from you and what it's directly going to look like. Some of your power, to a degree, has been placed on pause. Similar to the Hangman situation. You do have power in it to bring this full 360. Some of you might be on the fence in relation to two roads, two ways to do this, two people, correlating journeys between two individuals, and then coming back to self and looking at it and thinking, hey, do I have any power in this situation? Is there a lesson perhaps where I can take my power back and change the entirety of this situation? I do feel fatigue's fairly sudden, and I'm also seeing glasses needing to be looked at. You don't feel inside that you're at peace with the given scenarios happening around you. I wouldn't say it's completely affecting your health. It is a state that by mid-month I do feel you'll start moving forward, where you're going to have a wrap on your feelings and it's going to be more grounded. But the funny thing is, I don't feel till the end of the month you're actually giving yourself enough credit for the achievements and the way this person directly perceives you, regardless of what has transpired between the both of you. It's due to a sadness that you had with something that happened. But the truth is going to come out. It's all in relation to your perspective and perception. And I do feel as you energetically change, a lot of your manifestations on a positive note will come through. But I do feel because you vibrationally quite down and you have a lot coming towards you, when you do move away from your third eye, you're actually able to manifest at a higher ratio, you know, and yellow. The higher heart, I feel for you, is connected to Chiron. And this is very much, especially with the butterfly, it's like a crossing over, a changing. I feel a great deal of Pluto energy coming through here. There is a scarred path you're on. And this is to your ultimate love. And this could very well be with the current partner you're with, but a transformation is happening. Nevertheless, to make this situation come full 360. Something's not working at the moment between you, though, so it does need to change to be able to bring this balance in so that both you and this individual can have a very deep connection and these energies can turn upright. I do feel the delay is on your counterpart's side due to an external situation, perhaps even at a financial level or at an emotional, spiritual level within themselves, but there is a direct mirror coming here. I do feel you to be detached from the situation, but not on purpose. It potentially could be on purpose, but I do feel it's due to betrayal or hurt or something to that degree. It doesn't have to be that transpired with this individual, but there is a potential that it could be the residue of an old frequency coming up to be dealt with. I'm seeing miscommunication, but I do see it flowing better by mid-month. Let's get some advice cards. Okay. So interesting. This very much feels like a very spiritual connection. I'm laughing because there is a correlating link here. Now, I'll show you the cards upright. Both of them are like a high vibration soulmate / twin flame, but they're both in reverse. So technically speaking, you are seeing eye to eye, but you're both sort of like doing the same thing. You're both like, this can't be it. This is hard. And this is even if you are or aren't in communication. This is too hard. Surely it can't be. Yes, it is. It can be two things. I'm hearing two storylines here. Some of you, potentially, this person is directly not what you believe they are to be. And you've reached that conclusion. That's a different scenario. Some of you who are on the fence and you directly know this is not a spiritual connection and it has expired, I do feel you will walk away. Others of you, which is the other group where the download of the laughing's coming from, there is an energy that there is a great deal of chemistry between you. There's also a very quirky frequency of tit for tat going on. I do feel it's going to loosen up, but it's like, you possibly can't be my soulmate. You possibly can't be. You can't be my twin flame. And it's like, it's almost like a joke, but it's because you're both very tight, but you're using a playful, facetious way of doing it. I do feel it's going to change though. Even if energetically aren't in communication, this is the frequency coming through. Between you, there is a transformation. So this delay on you guys being in your higher consciousness with your crown chakra and taking your power back and manifesting, it's coming about. It's very close. Overall, there is a presence of love here for those of you who that's relevant. Be patient. It is moving towards you. I do feel within 8 days there is a potential, potentially even 4 months, for things to balance out correctly. That's not to say movement's not happening. There is movement happening. Right now, as the energy stands, both of you may go over a situation potentially even 4 times. But I am also seeing with this energy that it is a potential high vibration soulmate / twin flame. Love and light. See you on the other side.